Welcome in, everybody. My name is Mark Farzyshow. This is the farzyshow presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. So much to get to today. Action-packed weekend. Phillies turning around. I'm pretty sure I can't 100% call them on it, but I'm almost positive, near definite, that Rob Thompson watches the show. Just saying is all. Just saying is all. We'll get to that. And how about this? Hey, you want fun? You want excitement? You want to watch Jimmy Butler last night just go off on the Celtics and bury the Celtics? That's fun. That's exciting basketball. You know what's not fun? You know what's not exciting? Possibly the New York Knicks wanting Joel Embiid. And it kind of, in a way, when I saw the report after the show came out of the Knicks, quote, being a team that you want to keep an eye on when it comes to the potential Joel Embiid sweepstakes, I thought, well, that would actually make me feel somewhat better about it, because that would be a mistake by the Knicks. And if it's a mistake by the Knicks, a franchise that just is going to nick, you know, as they say, a franchise that just can't get anything right, then that means that the Sixers would have to get it right. Although I would really hate watching Joel Embiid play for the Knicks. So there's that too. Also, the Phillies do win their series over the weekend with Chicago Cubs, so we're a little concerned about it, a little worried about it, and they ended up winning the last two games of that series. So look at us, folks. Look at us having ourselves a good time. Do apologize. Technical difficulties starting off the show today on my end. PJ, spectacular as always, but me having trouble loading a cut that I really wanted to play for you guys today, because usually when the things happen over the weekend, we're talking about games. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about things that were said off the field, reports that were off the field or off the court in this instance. But let's start it off with our beloved Philadelphia Phillies, because what I was watching over the weekend was not good baseball. Friday, boy, did they take it on the chin in the first game of this 3-game series with the Chicago Cubs. It was ugly. I did the Jacob Media post-game show Friday night. It was the 10-1 loss at the hands of the Chicago Cubs. A very frustrating game. And after that game, I said, you got to give Trey Turner a day off. I have said it for weeks now that this guy just looks lost. I mean, and a lot of you have said the same thing, but it's just he doesn't look at all like the player that you signed in the offseason. And that was very frustrating. And the other part that was frustrating was that, and I've never seen it before, somebody get on base as consistently as him and watch his batting average drop, watch his on-base percentage drop. And when it came to those sliders low and away, breaking balls that would end up low and away, fastballs low, everything low and away, he was just swinging over top of. And he couldn't make contact. He was constantly starting in these 0-2 counts. And you even heard John Kruk talking about it yesterday on the broadcast about the body language is just different with Trey Turner, about how he just doesn't seem to have a lot of confidence. If you don't have confidence at the plate, then you're really not going to have success either. And he looked like a guy that was just pressing. And that's what I've been saying for a long time. That's exactly what it looks like. And when I heard the philosophy, and you guys heard me criticize this a bunch, when I heard the philosophy that Trey Turner, for him to get out of it, was to keep swinging, like more aggressively, I thought that seems bass-ackwards. Why the hell would you do that? So what do they do? And I've been begging for him to get a day off. So after the 10-0 loss, which in the game, by the way, Trey Turner just 0 for 4, batting average sunk down to a 257. What did they decide to do for game 2 of this series? They decided to tell Trey Turner, well, let's take the day off. And they give him a day off. They come back the next day. They come back, rather, on Saturday with him out of the lineup. And they have one of their best offensive performances of the year, baby. They win the 12-3 game. Aaron Nola looks sharp. Kyle Schwarber, oh, my goodness. I mean, hanging breaking ball? Oh, boy. That wasn't just hanging. That was hung. It was just right there waiting for him to slaughter and send to the upper deck, which is exactly what he did. So that was great to see. Bottom line is Phillies won. Aaron Nola looked great in that game. And it's a shame that he had to give up the solo home run later in the game. So a little bit of a blemish on the record there. But still, when you're consistently getting 6 innings from him, 7 innings from him, that's a great thing, especially with the state your bullpen's in right now. He goes 7, allows 2 earned runs, and does give up a home run. He struck out 10. Under 100 pitches in 7 innings of work for Aaron Nola. And the velocity for him, I know I've been tracking this with you guys, but you talk about 92, you talk about 91 consistently, and then he gets back more consistently at 93, 94 miles per hour. And this is something that you want to see from Aaron Nola, just to set up everything else that he's got in his arsenal and have those pitches be more potent. And if he can locate his fastball and he can have that there and bail him out, and I will say the strike zone was something that was rather humorous on Saturday. If I can say that, it all boils down to still the idea that Aaron Nola knowing the strike zone and still being able to locate his fastball and just pitch great for those 7 innings that he was in the ball game. If you get this guy back on track, I'm not even going to mention any other names like a guy that pitched yesterday, but if you just get him back on track, there'll be one guy you can hang your hat on as the bullpen comes back and the bullpen gets healthy, most notably Jose Alvarado. Really, Jose Alvarado. That's about it. So that's what I want to see from these guys. But great, 12-3 victory on Saturday. Then Sunday, and in that game, Trey Turner, he got his day off. Wonderful, good, great, grand. Yesterday, Bryson Stott got the day off, going for the series win over the Chicago Cubs to get back on track of winning a series, hopefully winning series as you got the Arizona Diamondbacks coming to town. Bryson Stott gets the day off. And I thought, oh, okay, very interesting. You know, if road games coming up here, you have a bunch of those road games. I know all those road games matter, so you definitely want him. And the Chicago Cubs game doesn't matter as much, I guess, but I'd like to win a series. It's a nice foreshadow, a nice drama for a movie, considering what Bryson Stott did later in that ball game. But watching this game play out, I wasn't trying to get caught up in the idea that Trey Turner was coming back from a day off, and I wanted to see what he could do. But in his first at bat of the game, he has a 10-pitch at bat. I don't think he has had anything more than like a 6-pitch at bat throughout the entire season. He may have. I haven't looked it up, but I can't remember let's just say this. I can't remember the last time he had a 10-pitch at bat. So anyway, comes out there, and he just automatically took the first 2 pitches, which I can't remember another time where he's done that, and he wasn't as aggressive. And then when he got into 2-strike count, he started fouling pitches away, looking for a good pitch, and then sure enough, he ends up having a 10-pitch at bat, but ends up striking out, unfortunately, later with double in the ball game. But I'm not saying that one day off is going to cure everything because, look, he's had games before, and this is one of the things that drove me crazy. He had games before where he would look comfortable or he would be up there at the plate and be getting on base, or he'd get on base in his first at-bat and then go 0 for 4, 0 for 5 the rest of the way. He has games like that where he's just wildly inconsistent in approach, comfort in the box, and just getting on base in general. So for me, watching him yesterday, I watched the first bat. I went, oh, he definitely looked more comfortable there. Good to see him get a 10-pitch at bat. Gets on base later in the game. And by the way, he immediately went back to down 0-2 in his next at bat. And he was doing that consistently again. So I don't know if it's going to wave a magic wand for Trey Turner, and all of a sudden he's going to turn into this 330 hitter again. But yesterday, 1 for 4. Average still sits at 257, by the way. On base percentage, down to 300. He's dipped below 300 in season already. And let's hope that that's the last time that happens. But nonetheless, Trey Turner goes to the top of the lineup. Nick Castellanos bats second for you. Bryce Harper stays in the 3-hole. JT Realmuto was batting as your cleanup hitter yesterday. Kyle Schwarber was batting 5th. And then you had Boehm, Sosa. Harrison was your starting second baseman in honor of Bryson Stott getting the day off. And then Dalton Guthrie was your center fielder yesterday. So a little bit of a different lineup for the Phillies. And on the mound, so I look at that lineup and I go, Taijuan Walker back on the bump for the Phils. Doesn't feel like a series win today, folks. Just looking at the lineup card, did not feel like a series win. It's a series win. Taijuan Walker goes 5 1/3, and if you saw him get taken out of the game in a 0-0 ball game, if you saw him get taken out of that game in the 6th inning, that's exactly how you want every starter to look when they're getting taken out of a game. He looked like yeah, I'm done. He definitely looked like he was telling Rob Thompson, no, this is the right call. But still, he was frustrated with himself, and that's what I'm talking about. He was frustrated that he couldn't at least get out of the 6th inning for his team. But 5 1/3 scoreless innings. After what we saw in San Francisco, that's the outing he puts together. 40 pitches in San Francisco, 4 earned runs, 4 hits. That is dreadful. And he bounces back. That's why baseball's a funny game, as they say. 5 1/3 scoreless innings, surrendering just 2 hits. He did issue 3 walks. One of them was the last batter he faced before he was pulled from the game. And he struck out 3. 87 pitches in 5 1/3 scoreless innings. After that, talking about taxing the bullpen, Dominguez, Strom, Brogdon, Soto, Kimbrel came in for the save. Kimbrel now had 1 save away from 400 in his career. But Taijuan Walker yesterday, one of the things I noticed with him that was different, his splitter, his sinker, those pitches were for the vast majority of this outing for him, these 5 1/3. The 87 pitches thrown. The vast majority of them were just on the money. They were, I mean, you talk about a guy locating fastballs. This guy was locating his breaking pitches phenomenally well in this game against the Cubs. I don't know what makes him do that. I'm sure the Phillies would love to know what button to push in order for him to just do that. But it was working yesterday. Whatever was in his thought, whatever was in his head, whatever he did from San Francisco from the West Coast back to the left coast, whatever, right, the East Coast, whatever, back to that. Whatever he did on that plane ride, whatever he's been doing in South Philly since being back, it worked beautifully in yesterday's game. And that's the guy that I looked at and I said, all right, you got a 1-2-3 puncher with Ranger Suarez as well. Maybe he's your 3rd starter, and Taijuan Walker your 4th starter. Andrew Painter, much more down the line. But before the season I'm talking about, it made me look at this team and go, oh, wow, you got Wheeler, you got Nola, yeah, Suarez coming around, having another great season, and then you got Taijuan Walker as your 4th starter. This is great. You got pitching. You certainly got the lineup. This team could go far. But it turns out that the lineup's not that great if you don't hit with runners in scoring position. Wah, wah. So they start to do that. They start to get pitching. And all of a sudden, it's a nice little turnaround here. Yesterday's game, when I saw Bryson Stott in the on-deck circle yesterday, I thought, I don't know what it was. Special feeling. Phillies are in a situation where it's a scoreless ball game in the 7th inning. Bryson Stott grabs a bat, steps up to the plate in that 7th inning. Now, Rob Thompson pushing buttons a little bit, especially with this. Stott's supposed to have his day off, and Rob Thompson says, I think we need you out there. So he grabs the bat. It was after Edmundo Sosa stepped up there after Alec Boehm had popped out to first. Sosa steps up there, hits the double. Now, Harrison's supposed to be hitting. He's your second baseman, as I told you earlier. Stott goes up there, and 5 pitches into the at-bat. Gets a 4-seam fastball, middle of the zone, and absolutely hammers it down the right field line, into the stands, 357 feet. He made contact, and it was like you could hear T-Mac, like, is this going to be gone? This might be gone. This could be gone. This is probably gone. This is gone. You can, like, hear that inflection, that tone in his voice. And sure enough, Phillies are all of a sudden up 2-0. And Bryson Stott, as he did last year, now last year was a walk-off. This one is just a huge home run to help the Phillies get the series win. And watching this team play baseball over the last couple of weeks here has not been that much fun. It has been downright depressing, unfortunately. But watching this team play yesterday, they continued to fight. They continued to go up there and grind. And you just saw a guy like Bryson Stott answer the moment. And that's exactly what you wanted to see. And to see him come up there with that big hit is fantastic. Guthrie then ended up striking out. Turner then gets the double. And unfortunately, then Nick Castellanos flew out to right. So you couldn't get any more insurance runs out of that. Stott was all you're going to have to offer. And then seeing Craig Kimbrel come in there and get the save was great. 2 strikeouts were easy. Morel gives it the home run to Morel. And then Mancini walked. And you're like, okay. They pinch hit for Trevor Wisdom, who's having himself a nice little season. And he's able to get Wisdom to fly out in foul territory to JT Realmuto to end the game and end the series. Overall, Phillies got me in my feels winning those last 2 games of the series because it was getting pretty dark, folks. And it's not just that what happened was bad. It's about what's in the future. And after this series with Arizona, as we've talked about a couple of times already, Phillies now 2 games under 500 going into this Arizona Diamondbacks series. 6:40 start time tonight, by the way. Don't forget, Zach Wheeler gets to start against the lefty Tommy Henry. We'll talk more about that in a second. But after this series with the Arizona Diamondbacks, the schedule is all about the NL East. And this is a make or break type of a run here. Whether or not we can have a lot of hope this season or whether or not that hope is going to be dashed. Atlanta for 4, New York Mets for 3, Washington for 3. You got a 10-game road trip coming up, stretching from May 25th to June 4th. And then, by the way, you got the Tigers at home for 3 after that, and then you got the Dodgers at home for 3 after that. This is a really tough stretch. Arizona comes in here, and they're not exactly playing the worst baseball. They're 27-20 on the season. They've been playing some really good baseball. This is not going to be a rollover type of thing. Nothing's going to be easy, but it's going to be hard before it gets a lot harder going into that 10-game trip. So I know Phillies right now are going to want to be in an opportunity to get as many wins as possible before going into that stretch. But it is going to be a tall order for the Phillies over their next 16, 19 games. And with this team being as inconsistent as they have been, either offensively or pitching, one or the other, nothing's easy anyway. But if there's going to be a time where push is coming to shove and you really want to know what this team's made of, and you really want to make an accurate prediction over whether or not you're going to be playing meaningful games in August or meaningful games in September, this is going to be a nice barometer. This is a 22 games of measuring stick baseball for the Philadelphia Phillies. Everyone's got to be on top of their game. And it's going to start tonight with Arizona, and then it's just going to keep on going. The one series that we might not give a damn about is Detroit, but that's about it. Everything else, edge of your seat. A lot of baseball to cover. And it'll take us through Memorial Day. Isn't that nice? So that's what we got going on with the Phillies. Very exciting. Very exciting stuff. Hey, there's a little thing here. The Eagles are in a situation right now where their linebacking core, a lot of people might have high hopes for, myself included. Nakobe Dean, friend of the show, he's your starting linebacker right now. He's your starting middle linebacker right now. Nicholas Morrow, probably be on the outside. And then let's just go through the schedule, okay? Nakobe Dean, Christian Ellis, Kyron Johnson, Patrick Johnson, Nicholas Morrow, Hassan Reddick, this is linebacker, Nolan Smith, linebacker, Davion Taylor, linebacker. That's right. They're BVS, Ben Van Sumeren. If you don't know him, he's the undrafted rookie. That's your linebacking core right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, I love Nolan Smith, and I love Hassan Reddick, and we know what they're doing. Edge rushers, more so than strict linebackers, if you will. But this is an interesting thing here with the Eagles because even with Trent Edwards, even with TJ Edwards, excuse me, even with TJ Edwards, even with Alex Singleton, we went into it and went, okay, there's a couple of undrafted guys. So what now? Like, I should feel better about a third-round pick going out there and playing linebacker. But my doubts don't necessarily lie with Nakobe Dean. They lie with Nicholas Morrow. They lie with who's going to be like Kazir White in this situation. Who's going to be your other outside linebacker? Even for the Eagles, with this depth, this is a low bar. This is a very, very low bar. And I got into this conversation on Friday. I was a guest on Birds 365, which follows this show on at 9 o'clock. Excuse me, at 8 o'clock with Jody McDonald and John McMullen. And they were talking about linebackers for the Philadelphia Eagles. And they were asking me about Nakobe Dean being a top 10 linebacker in the NFL. Like, can he be a top? For him to be good, he's got to be a top 10. For this team to do well, this defense to do well, Nakobe Dean needs to be a top 10 linebacker. And I was just thinking, that seems like an unfair bar to put on an Eagles linebacker. And I was unaware of this. Johnny Mack told me that TJ Edwards was a top 10 linebacker in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. So basically, TJ Edwards did his job. Not a lot of things were his fault. That's how Pro Football Focus, to sum it up, that's how they do it. But I never looked at this defense and went, "Oh, we got TJ Edwards. We got this." Like there was no big play. There was no big hit. There was nothing I look at TJ Edwards and go, "Oh, well, TJ Edwards was going to make a play here." It was always, "Oh, you're going to see Hassan Reddick make a play. You're going to see Chauncey Gardner-Johnson make a play. You're going to see Reed Blankenship make a play." I never really – Kasir White's going to make a play. Never thought of that. Trent Edwards, never thought he was going to make a play. Your defensive backs, I thought would make a play. Pretty much anyone on your defensive line, I thought would make a play. But I can't ever say it was TJ Edwards. And if you're going to have a linebacker that's a top 10 linebacker on your team, that means at some point you're thinking, "Oh, this guy's going to make the play. This guy's going to make a play." I've never felt like TJ Edwards was going to make a play. I felt like TJ Edwards wasn't going to make a mistake to cost you. He might get burnt in coverage a couple times, but I never thought that to get TJ Edwards out of there, you need somebody else. Never thought that. What I'm saying is, yeah, he was good. He was fine. But he was never a splash playmaking middle linebacker. And I know those things are so few and far between, so to get into the top 10 shouldn't be that hard anyway. But with Nakobe Dean, I do have a sense that because he's got great speed, because his quickness is off the rails, because he's got that chip on his shoulder. Oh, and by the way, the guy's brilliant. He's got just a brilliant mind between those ears. I feel like this is going to be a guy that in his first year as a starting linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, we are going to see more splash plays, bigger plays by him, and have more confidence in him ultimately than really anybody that we have. He's going to foot the bill of being a third-round pick versus two guys we just saw start over the last handful of years as undrafted linebackers. And those guys, they did great for themselves. Alex Singleton, TJ Edwards, TJ Edwards, you start to see him take more of a starter's role with the Eagles over the last 2 years. Meanwhile, you see Alex Singleton go to Denver. He signs like a 3-year, $18 million deal. TJ Edwards really does well for himself here. He signs a 3-year, $19 million deal out in Chicago. So for me, those guys did well here. They made money for themselves elsewhere. Now you're going to have a guy step in here who has got a pedigree about him. He's not somebody that bounced around. He's not some undrafted pick. He's a third-round pick from a national champion defense that many people thought would go in the first round. I thought when they took Cam Jurgens, they're taking Nakobe Dean here. Turns out everybody was out on Nakobe Dean. No, thank you. No Nakobe Dean. Shoulder, undersized, whatever. Everything was being thrown at Nakobe Dean. Now he's going to be your starting linebacker. I ain't doubting this guy. And he said something over the weekend that has been on repeat. He said this Saturday morning. It was on Good Morning Football. And he was talking about this defense having that target on their back. Oh, you're a Super Bowl team now. Everyone's going to be coming for you. How do you feel that people are going to be? How do you feel people are going to be coming for you? People are going to be coming after you. Nakobe Dean, man. The great Stuart Scott said it best. As cool as the other side of the pillow. Here's Nakobe Dean. Actually, I think this was Friday morning, right after our show. Here's Nakobe Dean talking about this defense and the expectations for this Philadelphia Eagles team, as well as his role in the upcoming season.
We got a lot of underdogs on the team, a lot of people who play with a lot of chips on their shoulders, so we'll never sit back and act like we're the ones with the target on our back.
You don't watch NFL.com power rankings, see Eagles won, and then kick back and say, why even play the game? We're good?
Never that. We definitely not, we don't look at it like we got the target on our back. We look at it like we the ones out there hunting. So,
yeah, I love that you said that, because you said there's a lot of guys. Everybody's not in the same situation. And some guys, you have your Kelce's, and you're a guy that now I want to step up and prove what I can do.
Exactly.
So what is that experience now going from year one to year two? You guys lost some guys in free agency. Now you possibly will be the guy on that defense.
So, exactly what it is. It's just trying to step up and be better, you know. This whole offseason, we just kind of been working on being the best version of ourselves individually. Now we coming together as a team and trying to put it together. So, I'm excited. I'm excited for the team. I'm excited to get things going. You know, OTAs is rolling. So, every day I'm just excited to be out there with my guys. Oh yeah, everybody good. Well, I'm good.
Yeah.
He had the same reaction when he was on our show a couple weeks ago. He had the same reaction when I asked him, "So are you healthy?" He's like, "I'm healthy. I'm good to go. Yeah, I'm great." The line he had in there about we're going to do the hunting. We're not worried about being the hunted. Let's see. Off-season catchphrases. Off-season buzz phrases. Let's see here. I really like Sean Desai. Him talking about how this defense is going to model the city. I don't care that it was pandering. I don't care that I'm like 99.9999% sure it was pandering, but I love it. I'm going to eat it up with a spoon, just like Bryce Harper's Philly Fanatic socks and shoes. Then spikes. I'm going to eat it up. Just like Nick Sirianni wearing a Phillies hoodie. I'm going to eat it up. And Nakobe Dean and Sean Desai. Desai saying the city's going to the defense is going to mirror the city. Tough, gritty, palpable. Okay. And Nakobe Dean saying, yeah, we're not worried about being hunted. We're going to be the hunter. He went on to talk about Sean Desai, how he likes him in the early introduction, the early stages of getting to know your new defensive coordinator. I am most curious of all the things defensively speaking. Sidney Brown as a starting safety on this team, the rookie. I'm curious to see if he wins that starter's job. There's a lot of things, just in general about this team that I'm curious to see. Right guard, how a guy like Cam Jurgens will most likely take that responsibility on. I know we talked about it yesterday with Jason Kelsey speaking glowingly about Isaac Seumalo, about how no one's going to really replace him, and that's fine. But I am still very curious to see what Cam Jurgens does, and I think he will be successful. I mean, why should we believe anything else? It's Stoutland University, right? But the biggest question mark for me, the biggest thing I'm curious about is their linebacker position. Because we haven't seen Nakobe Dean play with any great regularity as a linebacker. I mean, special teamer, sure, and he's done a hell of a job there. But as a linebacker, we haven't seen him. Nicholas Morrow, we don't know a lot about. And, of course, you're bringing in Nolan Smith, and you already have Hassan Reddick, and, yeah, these guys are great edge rushers. But I am most curious to see, look, you have a third-round pick that should be miles ahead of where Trent Edwards, jeez, I did it again, where TJ Edwards and Alex Singleton were. Should be miles ahead. But he's been riding the pine for a year. He's been a special teamer for a year. What can you expect from him? I'm expecting big things, but it's still a question because I haven't seen it yet. Of all the things I'm looking at defensively speaking, I think you're pretty good with your secondary in terms of your cornerbacks, including your nickel, including bringing in Ringo as well. But looking at all these guys, I want to know what's going to happen with your safety position. I got confidence in Reed Blankenship on one side, who's going to be occupying the other, and then linebackers, most notably Nakobe Dean. But the attitude is right. I don't doubt anything. Health-wise, I believe he's 100% healthy. I don't think that had anything to do with why he wasn't playing more as a linebacker last year. If he wasn't healthy, they wouldn't even have him out there on special teams. They're going to protect a third-round asset, especially when you're considering, you're not bringing back TJ Edwards. He's going to sign more money somewhere else than you were going to sign him to here. So you're not going to risk him getting injured again. So when it comes to everything else, I don't know if it was getting used to a new city. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation out there. But just when it comes to Nakobe Dean, the biggest question mark I have, the biggest curiosity I have, I should say, is Nakobe Dean at linebacker for this Eagles team. And if it is going to be that easy, undrafted guys did okay, then this third-round pick will do great. I hope that's the case. And whatever it is, I hope Sean Desai does not commit the number one offense that any play caller, defensive or offensive, can commit, which is square peg, round hole. No, this is my system. This is my scheme. You fit into that. You always got to coach to the players that you have. That's the only thing that I looked at when I look back on Jonathan Gannon's time here in Philadelphia that I think you can kind of walk back a little bit. Yeah, of course he has a scheme, and of course he has a philosophy, and he later said that. But when he coaches to his players, that should also be something that is admired, as opposed to, this is what I do, now everyone fall in line. You're not good at this? Tough. This is what I do. I think that's what really good coaches do. They coach to what they have. And I also think that's a big part of why Andy Reid struggled so much in his early goings as a play caller and as a head coach in the NFL. The success was there on the field, winning games, but not winning the big game. We all know about the in-game adjustments and all that stuff. But as far as this is what I do it. West Coast offense, Donovan McNabb, never made a whole lot of sense to me. But that's a conversation for another day. Hopefully Sean Desai has a similar trait. I know people are always talking about how similar he's going to be to Jonathan Gannon. Well, one thing I will do is that what I will say about Jonathan Gannon is he was open to the idea that some of his players might not be comfortable in a certain scheme or a certain philosophy. So he would coach to their attributes. I thought that was most notable in the safety position for the Eagles with what they did with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Yeah, you're not just going to be the deepest man on the field. We're going to have you be aggressive. And a lot of safeties, a lot of defenses are doing that. I think the Eagles are one of the top teams that are actually using their safety in the box as aggressively as they did with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And would have liked to see the 6 games he ended up missing anyway with injury to see where it would have been there. Before I get to some of our sponsors today and our fine chat check, and it seems like it is popping today in the chat check, ladies and gentlemen. I do want to get to this. Do I have it? I have it. Okay. If you guys were scrolling over the weekend, now we talked about the Keith Pompey story on Friday. That's Nick Nurse. Here it is. So this is a story from Keith Pompey that we put out there yesterday about Nick Nurse supposed to sit down. It looks like this week, according to sources, we'll sit down with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia 76ers and hammer out some plans for the not-too-distant future. We also talked about how Keith Pompey released that story on Inquirer.com about the future of James Harden, how now it seems like James Harden is going to be going back to Houston. It seems like that is not all but set in stone, but it seems like the intention of James Harden is to opt out of the player option he has for the upcoming season. Thank you very much. And then he's going to sign with the Houston Rockets. My concerns about this were that he was going to opt out of this. And when we talked to Marcus Hayes about this last week, he said, I know that's a good sign that he's going to opt out, but the bad thing is that Daryl Morey still wants him back in Philadelphia. So Daryl Morey might throw a 4-year, $210 million deal at James Harden's feet and say, well, what do you think of that? And then James Harden would be back after telling us thanks, but no thanks. And after us thinking we're free, James Harden's gone. Now let's see what we can do with our money that's left. So, story comes out from Keith Pompey that James Harden is planning to return to the Houston Rockets. I want to take that as Bible. I want to take that as set in stone as possible because I do not want James Harden back in Philadelphia. Running it back, as they say, sounds horrible to me. And I know people will talk about MVP, and I know people will talk about assist leader with James Harden, but the regular season accolades have never meant less to me than they do right now. Because you've been a number 1 seed, bounced out in the second round playoffs. You've had the MVP of the league, bounced out of the second round of the playoffs. Like we've seen we've seen as good as it gets from the regular season. We've seen an MVP, we've seen a number 1 seed, we've seen an assist leader, and it just nope, bounced out of the second round. Something does need to drastically change, and James Harden would be a drastic change. Changing your point guard, that would be a drastic change. So I'm going to go ahead and start walking down the path that James Harden is not back in the upcoming season. So then what do? There's nobody out there in free agency that you go, that guy, he'll be the guy to compete with Joel Embiid as the scorer, like the leading scorer of the team. So let's go ahead and assume they don't make a huge splash in free agency. Now you could trade Tobias Harris, but that's a mega huge Kajunga deal, even though he's going into the final year of it. Maybe it's a Tobias Harris trade that you make mid-season, but those mid-season trades never seem to work out that great. Maybe you use them even before the trade deadline, like you did when you got Tobias Harris here, or when you got Jimmy Butler here. You traded for him well before the deadline. So looking at it like that, what's going to be the next step for the Sixers? So this is what has crept into my brain. I mean, I think what the Sixers are going to end up doing is they're not going to go into next year with the stars of the show being Joel Embiid and James Harden. I think they're going to go into next year with the stars of the show being Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Somebody hit me up on one of our comments over the weekend about a rant I was making about Maxey stepping up, and I would love to say that, oh, well, he is ready. He is ready to be that number 2 guy or 1A guy next to number 1 Joel Embiid. He is ready to be that guy. I don't know for sure that he is, but here's what I'm curious about. And I say this about a lot of guys, especially with guys with great work ethic and great talent. Tyrese Maxey has those guys, so I'm not going to bet against him. And every year you've seen him improve. Every year you've seen him improve. Even after taking over for Ben Simmons 2 years ago now, and seeing that points per game average jump double, right? And then seeing it go up again at 20 points per game for Tyrese Maxey. That's great. You saw the increase in production when he got increased playing time. Those two went hand in hand, as they should. And now he's going to be trusted. As of right now, he's going to be trusted in a huge way to no longer just be a cog in the wheel of the James Harden, Joel Embiid team, but it is going to become James Harden. It's going to become Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. If this was NBA Jam, the faces you'd be selecting would be Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. No longer Joel Embiid and James Harden. No longer Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. The big two, as of right now, would be Maxey and Embiid. I feel better about that than I do Harden and Embiid. And it's not just because of the talent that's there. It's because of the talent you could also acquire with the money that you would have from not signing James Harden. And how you wouldn't be crippled for 4 years, $210 million, after you've already been struggling with Tobias Harris' lack of production and the money that he is obviously making. And I also think that you'll get a better version of Tobias Harris without James Harden. Without somebody as ball dominant, I think you're going to have a little bit more production from a guy like Toby. And that's assuming, and I don't think he's going to play a whole year here again. I think he starts the season on the Sixers, but I'd be shocked if he played throughout the entire season with the Sixers. But maybe a new look offense with Tyrese Maxey running things. Maybe with a new head coach, things will look a lot different here in Philadelphia. And that's what I'm hoping for. I've explained to you guys before that there's kind of tiers that I go through when it comes to the offseason of the Sixers. And it's like, Doc needed to be fired. It wasn't all his fault, but since when does that matter? And then James Harden can't be re-signed. First off, James Harden has to opt out of his player option. Then you can't re-sign James Harden. These are like the top 3 things, all right? This is what I'm all for. Everything I'm great with. No Doc. No Harden. Again, no Harden. All right. That's great. Those are all three things that I'm very much for. And then there's the bottom tier. The bottom tier is the scariest one out there because the bottom one starts a whole new process over again. And that's the idea of trading Joel, Hans, and Embiid. That is what I call blow-up mode. That is big red button, flip it up, push the button, and everything's gone. The state I continue to be in is I don't want it, but I get it. And that's a huge step. You're talking about trading the reigning MVP, the most valuable player in the NBA. That's what you're talking about. Everyone gets it. Everyone understands it. I'm not ready to 100% jump on that button. I can see why you'd want to. Is it your best trade piece? Is it your best asset? Could you start a whole new process over again? Absolutely. But I'm kind of sick and tired of waiting. I went through it already. I did that. I supported it. I was like, yeah, sure. Let's give 3 years to doing nothing. 3 years to 18 wins, 19 wins, 10 wins. Let's do it. And so far, we haven't been able to make it out of the second round. So I don't want to do that again anytime soon. And I'm going to need to know that I have exhausted every resource possible in order to make sure that this team can win an NBA championship. Not just get out of the second round, but win an NBA championship. And Joel Embiid, obviously, trading him puts you miles and miles back. It puts you light years back into the process years. Oh, but you got Maxey. Yeah, you got Maxey. And I love watching Maxey. But Maxey isn't carrying this team to an NBA Finals. Maxey and Embiid, and then possibly building around that could, with a new head coach, and see what else you would get in here. And Maxey taking another big leap forward with more playing time. It could. That's what I want to see. And I want to see that sooner rather than later. The reason I bring this up is because 11 o'clock Friday morning, responding to Keith Pompey's story of James Harden expecting to reunite with the Rockets in free agency, according to sources, Stefan Bondi of the New York Daily News put it out there that he has been told since mid-season Joel Embiid is the guy to watch for the Knicks. And Phillies playoff flameout only intensified that belief. Can you, for a second, see Joel Embiid wearing a New York Knicks jersey? When you get that vomit taste out of your mouth, focus on what I'm saying. Focus again on what I'm saying. I don't think that's happening. And as I really unpacked this, when I saw this over the weekend, as I really started to unpack it, what really started to float through my big idiot brain was this. If the Knicks do it, chances are it works out for the Sixers. If the Knicks do it, we're going to be looking pretty good because the Knicks only make mistakes. This is great. The Knicks want to do this? Yeah, hell yeah. And then I thought, the Knicks actually made the playoffs. Knicks might be on the upswing. Throw an MVP in the middle of that. I don't know if I'm going to want that. If we did the process to help the Knicks win a championship, I am a very unhappy man. And I can't see that. I can't see Daryl Morey pulling the trigger on that. And also, let's face this, okay? Daryl Morey is now through a head coach. You don't get too many head coaches as a general manager or president of basketball operations, right? You don't get too many of those. You don't get too many big trades either. So if Daryl Morey is going to keep his job in Philadelphia, he's not trading Joel Embiid. Do you really think that Daryl Morey can go back to Josh Harris and the ownership group and say, hey, how about Process Part 2? How about Process, the sequel? In a world where you didn't win before, you lose a lot again in order to attempt to maybe try to have a shot maybe at winning a championship. Daryl Morey is Process 2.0. I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that he's not going to trade Joel Embiid. Especially not going to trade Joel Embiid to the Knicks. And one of the things Daryl Morey is going to do is just ride this out and see what he can do with Embiid, see what he can do with Maxey, and then take it from there. But when I saw that story about the Knicks, I went, good God, man, this is going to be something. It's going to be, I think we're set for an off season where we're on the edge of our seats. Where there's going to be a lot of things floating around out there because the Sixers have continued to hit that wall. So people are going to be waiting. People are going to be lying in the weeds, waiting to pounce on whatever Sixers story could leak out, any speculation. I'm sure there'll be some story about how James Harden hasn't fully made up his mind about what he wants to do, and that'll make us uncomfortable because I don't think we want him here in Philadelphia again. So it's going to be a long offseason with the 76ers. It's going to be a very, very long offseason. Let me tell you about my man, Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. For over 40 years, Steven's been in the love business in Philadelphia, helping people get engaged and fall in love. So do what I do when it comes to those big jewelry purchases Head to IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. One place, one price, perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. And look at all the beautiful, dazzling diamond inventory that they have to offer. And a real jewelry expert, when you go to the other corner of 8th and Walnut, is standing by to help you feel like a real family member and walk you through all the beautiful inventory that they have. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. As you know, this show is presented by BetterHelp. You know, we are so lucky in this day and age to be able to talk about mental health openly and not have people wildly judge somebody else. We can talk about this in an open format. And BetterHelp is here to make sure that you guys can get that help when you need it. Because negative stigma about that help is being chipped away day after day after day. As you guys know, I've gone through as a kid, I went through my own mental health struggle with obsessive compulsive disorder, a little splash of germ phobia. Every once in a while, it creeps back into my head, having to do things in sets, actually. But I got help. But I wish at the time there was BetterHelp, because there would be an easier way to find that help that I need or needed back in the day. BetterHelp is a convenient and affordable way to have therapy anytime, anywhere. BetterHelp will match you with more than, how about this, one of their 32,000 licensed therapists based on your location, your preferences, and therapist availability. Here's what you do. You log on to BetterHelp.com. Fill out the questionnaire that asks you things like what type of therapy you're looking for, what led you to consider therapy, and what are you looking for in a therapist. They'll do all that for you at BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com. They also ask you how you and why you want to help yourself. BetterHelp, go to BetterHelp.com/farzyshow. That's BetterHelp.com/farzyshow and get on your way to being the best version of yourself. BetterHelp.com/farzyshow. Go out and get that help. Let me tell you about the great people at Manscaped. Manscaped.com. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Join 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and their skin-safe technology that helps reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. Go to manscaped.com. Get their Platinum Package 4.0, which is their best hygiene bundle yet. It includes their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer as well as their Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. And they come with skin-safe technology that helps you reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off and free shipping. How about Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You like CBD? You use CBD? Do you enjoy CBD? Try Freestone Farm CBD at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You'll love their tropical tasting Bayox. It clocks into the chart topping 24.1%. And Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts. So try Freestone Farm CBD. Get 20% off when you use promo code Farzy at FreestoneFarmsCBD.com. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsStation.com. Let's get to the chat check real quick, ladies and gentlemen. See how you guys are doing today. Just the teep. Start off with you guys with Jacob. Farzy, good morning. What's up? Both franchises need to be sold. New ownership. The stink starts at the head. From an account coming as just the teep. Yep, maybe. King Early the Wise. What's up, King Early? Please trade Embiid. I don't fault anyone. Anyone that says trade Embiid, I don't fault you. Just please, one favor, don't trade him to the Knicks. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Back over to the Farzy Show channel. What's going on, guys? How you guys doing? Nice to see you. April! Mark on that dealer time this morning. April, my apologies. Technical difficulty. Travis Rickler, what's up, buddy? Didn't I tell y'all my Miami Heat would do some whooping? You're welcome, Sixers. Jimmy Butler is a killer. Stone cold. Him and Williams in game 2, the taunting back and forth. The old phrase is don't tug on Superman's cape. And in this sense, Jimmy Butler's Superman, man. He's Superman. Jim, dump Embiid. Okay. April, Butler was on fire. Love him messing with the Celtics, the timeout. Amazing. Sean Gillespie, what's going on? Sean, Kilrain, what's up? Hey, let Harden get his legacy contract from the Houston Rockets. I'm 1,000% with you, eh? Sean Gillespie, go Heat. Hopefully they won't let up like all of Doc Rivers' teams. There you go. Sean Kilrain. Stott with a beautiful pinch hit. Comparing him to Utley too early, I think you agree. Here's the thing. Comparison, first off, if you guys haven't heard this quote, let me just get this out of the way, okay? Teddy Roosevelt, comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. But here's what I will say about comparing Bryson Stott. I don't like comparing the two players. I don't like comparing any two players. I like comparing specific things. And even in that realm, you get into trouble. But Bryson Stott, and I said this last week, Bryson Stott, that quick stroke through the zone, it is without question Schmitty-esque. It is without question Utley-esque. It is a quick downward strike through the zone. It's beautiful. Is he Mike Schmidt? No. Is he Chase Utley? No. But that one particular thing about his baseball, the swing, it's good. It's like that. That's what it reminds me of. No question. Stott with a beautiful, yes, absolutely. Jeff, what's up? Are you more happy or frustrated Celtics are down 3-0 to the Heat? Sixers have had the same number of wins as the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. This is mind-boggling to me. I'm not frustrated. This doesn't do anything more or less for my frustration. Because ultimately what it comes down to is whether or not you're a killer. And Embiid's not a killer. Harden's not a killer. Jimmy Butler's a killer. And then Jimmy Butler being a killer, he starts this like cult around him of other killers. And then they all start killing. So even though you can look at it and be like, oh, well, the Sixers will put up more of a fight because they can play more of an inside-out game. They can have Embiid and Bam Adebayo's great, but, all that stuff. I don't look at this as anything of, well, see, the Sixers do better than the Celtics in this scenario. Maybe they win a game or two. But in order to do that, they'd have to be killers. They'd have to get past the Celtics to do this. When they faced the Heat last year with Embiid hurt, obviously, it still didn't work out. So I don't look at anything in this series and go, like, any justification to the Sixers. Tyrese Maxey put it out there last night. I don't have the tweet, unfortunately, but he said he can watch the Western Conference Finals with no problem. But if he watches the Eastern Conference Finals, he wants to throw something at his TV. And then he put out a GIF of somebody ranting like sore loser. And I'm like, well, good. I want you to feel like that. Have that fire, man. Get out there next year. Handle your business, please. And thank you. But as far as happy or frustrated, I'm honestly neither, Jeff. But I understand your question. It's a question worth asking. But me personally, I don't look at it and go, oh, man, look, the Celtics suck. The Sixers can put up a fight. The bottom line is they still lose. And they weren't getting past the Celtics. They had their opportunity, and they blew it. They were at home. They were up 2 going into the fourth quarter, and Jason Tatum carved their heart out. And then they didn't give Embiid the ball, but twice in the final 6 minutes. Dan Schwartz, what's up, Dan? Nice to have a good Phillies weekend. Dan Schwartz, Sixers still suck. Can confirm. Dan Schwartz. Are we sure there isn't 2 strippers, one named Basketball, one named Freedom? It sounds far-fetched, but we know Harden, so I also wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. They call the one girl Basketball because of all right. Daniel, nice to have you. Sean Gillespie, that started that conversation. Mihai, what's up, Mihai Sanchez? Morning, Philly fam. Will Schwarber's slam on Saturday spark a good run? First time he does something with runners on base. Heat and Nuggets are saving America. I'm actually excited for the NBA Finals. Awesome. That's good. Good for you. Sean Gillespie, what's up? Mally, what's up, Mally? Tyvita, what's up, girl? Nice to see you. Sean Gillespie, hello again. Mally saying hi to Tyvita. Tyvita saying hi to Mally. April saying hi to Tyvita. Tyvita, I think they should stop running the offense through Embiid and start giving the ball to Maxey. There we go. Let's just face it, Embiid is too slow. It's going to be whoever's coming in and take over for this team. If it is Nick Nurse, man, do they got their work cut out for them. Boy, do they have their work cut out for them. Taijaun, that's just not right. I agree. Excuse me. Taijaun, hey, man, Knicks literally have nothing that could even compare to a beat. Taijaun, you are correct. Everyone's saying hi to everyone. Everyone's getting along. Everyone's having fun. We're all having fun here. We're all having ourselves a good time. That's nice. Nice to see everybody, as per usual. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, skymotorcars.com. Phillies, as I said, they start a 3-game series, 6:40 today with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Zach Wheeler will be on the bump for the Phils. Look forward to seeing how Zach Wheeler does in this performance today. Wheeler is coming off an interesting little run here. 4 earned runs against San Francisco Giants. 9 hits, 6 innings of work. He only issued 1 walk. It was a 4-3 loss, unfortunately. He struck out 8. But before that, he went 7 innings, allowing 1 run against the Toronto Blue Jays. So that's good. Before that, 4 earned runs. Before that, 6 scoreless against Houston Astros. So he's been a bit of an up and down guy. Okay. And if he's an up and down guy, then this start tonight should be up. He should not be a 4 earned run guy. He should be a 1 earned run guy. Maybe no. Let's go for no earned runs. And by the way, my Friday morning prediction on Ranger Suarez going out there on Friday. Ooh, that was terrible. I was like, yeah, I'll give it 6 scoreless. Let's go 6 scoreless for Ranger Suarez. 2 innings? They give you 2 innings and 4 runs? That's not good. That's not good for anybody. But yeah, 6:40 start time tonight. Zach Wheeler gets the start for the Phillies. He will be opposed by the lefty Tommy Henry. Tommy Henry is coming into this game, coming off a 4 earned run performance of his own against the Oakland A's in 4 2/3 innings of work. He did surrender 2 home runs in that game. But as I mentioned, Arizona Diamondbacks, they're something to shake a stick at. 27 wins on the season and just 20 losses. 6:40 start time tonight. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back with you guys on the Jacob Media YouTube post-game show after the Phillies Arizona game tonight. So that should be a fun one. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. To the people on the podcast, make sure you guys subscribe. Thanks so much. And also subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel, as well as the Jacob Media YouTube channel as well. Jim Hyde produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. My name is Mark Farzetta. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. See you.